I think Cocoa Pebbles are racist too.
Final round 19, Scott Popular, legendary SRK mod, one of my good friends, RoninChaos. How are you doing, sir?
I'm living the dream.
Living the dream?
It's not my dream, but it's probably somebody's. So, you can't complain.
You can't, you never can complain. So, 19 events. Because it's actually been a longer span than just, we've been here for a very long time. But can you quickly tell people how you started?
Yeah, I was talking shit. I think it was, oh God, what was it? I think it might have been for final round, I think it might have been 2. And I remember going there and somebody like ate all of Shonda's food. Fuck. Well, anyway, I was talking shit online because, that's
what we do.
That's what you do, exactly. So you run into people and it was still like the old like arcade spirit, like you suck and I'll fight you and da-da-da-da. And I remember...
no rage quits.
No rage quits. You could not rage quit.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're stuck. And I remember playing and I was talking shit or something. Like it wasn't like bad. It wasn't like I'm gonna mop the floor with all you people like some of the stuff that we see these days. But like I was talking and then like I ran into June and I ran into Larry. And it was basically like, we'll back it up. And I remember like June came over to my house. It was him and Justin. And so we were playing and I remember June at one point going like, he's okay, he's pretty good, like okay. And so I went and I got bodied by Larry. Like it was bad. Like I beat everybody else, but then I fought Larry. Yeah. He fucking beat my ass.
Larry plays like an old man. He doesn't use any supers, he just uses normal things.
Exactly, just like exactly. So he put me in losers and then I remember, and then I fought all the way through the losers bracket and then he dropped me again. I ran into him again. And so I remember talking to him afterward. He's like, yeah, you're in the crew now. And of course I met everybody and then, bouncing between people's houses and everything else like that when we were keeping it nice and broke.
Yeah.
We were all centralized. It was a different thing.
Right.
So
there was definitely no online presence.
No, there was definitely no online. Well, you could get online and run your mouth, but
yeah.
But you had to show up.
You had to go to the arcade.
Yeah, you had to go to the arcade.
Or you had to go to somebody's house.
Or somebody's house, exactly. And I remember too, like when I first, after, I know we were doing the arcade stuff and then, Dreamcast shows up, everybody's playing that. And I remember,
Dreamcast.
Do you remember, I remember how, the thing that blew my mind is when we were doing it, and then like we moved to like the rec center and everything else like that, and it was hot as just balls out. And I remember people didn't want to come down because we were playing on consoles. And
I remember the evolution.
Because everybody was just
they were like, you guys are pumpkins.
Yeah, exactly. You guys are country. You play on consoles. Like, oh yeah, we have electricity that we can plug Dreamcast into. But yeah, people were like, oh yeah, we don't do that. We have arcades and stuff like that. We're all like, they're gonna die. You're gonna join us. They're all gonna die. They're like, no, they're not. Starbucks still sells coffee. People can make coffee at home, so not the same analogy. And then of course, I remember people started coming around. Like, okay, you guys are obviously doing something. And then we got bigger and bigger and bigger. And now, of course, we have like so many people here. I'm waiting for someone to call the fire marshal.
Yeah,
it's
an amazing amount of people.
Yeah,
but you know what? Because we are old fogies. Okay, we've been here. I want to say that we are the old guard. Okay, we are the old guard. Okay, yeah, and we usually complain a lot. We say, man, back in our day, the 09ers.
I started noticing that.
Okay, we complain a lot. We complain too much. Okay. Okay. Now, and I'm gonna ask you to do something that might be kind of difficult for you. Can you say something nice about the new generation? What is the good point about the new generation?
Well, okay, so it's really important, obviously, like if you have a competitive scene, like to continuously get new blood. Like, okay. I think, I don't know if this is necessarily a good thing, but what I find interesting about the newer people that are coming into fighting games now is that they weren't there during the drought. Like, you guys were like the 10-year period where like Capcom was like, we won't make fighting games at all. And so we were, the scene sort of went on life support, and then now, and we got that whole new influx of people with Street Fighter 4 and everything else like that, and like, I guess the nice thing to say is they're incredibly optimistic. Like, and maybe that goes to us being
bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Yeah, well, maybe that goes to us being old, right? But we saw the community thrive when we had arcades and everything else like that, and then we watched it die. We watched it die, exactly. So it's, when I look at some of this stuff, it's interesting to come out here and to see this many people show up. Because we wouldn't have, I don't think we could have thought of something like that, like this, even 5 years ago. And then, 5 years ago, it was still really big. And then you take it back like 10 years, I mean, that puts us, I think 10 years ago, we were in the rec center, I think. Yeah. It might have been, yeah. And I mean, I remember getting stuck running CVS2 when we had 48 people. And they always gave it to me because I ran it faster than everybody else. But
because we DQ people.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Dairy Queen.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really serious. Go get your free disqualification. But so I'm curious to see like what they'll do. Like I think Capcom is probably obviously going to support it, for a very long time. I mean, we're in a whole different business model now. Than really what has happened in the previous generations. And like I do a podcast with some friends.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. So congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, but we do our own podcast, and it's called Day Zero Update. And we talk a lot about that because like so much of the industry is changing. Like with like you can even look at Street Fighter's DLC model, like with what they're putting out and everything else like that. Like I mean, their intention is to have this bring in money constantly. And
instead of giving you the whole product in the beginning.
Exactly. And I think to a certain extent, that's almost the right way to do it when you're dealing with competitive people, because you're going to keep providing something every few months that will change things up. But at the same time, one of the things that I wonder about is like we saw all the crazy stuff come out of Marvel 2 strictly because that game was never going to evolve. Like where it was where it stopped. Yeah. And I mean, you guys like remember the Doom Strider traps? Yeah. People were like, how are we ever going to get around that? And then people figured out the air hyper viper beam, and then it was like Cable's going to be unbeatable, and then people figured out the way around that.
Because it wasn't an evolution; it's just like a continuous search.
Exactly.
Because like in Japan, people were doing totally different things.
Right.
So it was amazing at times. All right, and two things I need you to wrap this up. All right, now you are a father.
I am.
How do you feel about your kids playing video games?
Well, my kid is he plays my Xbox more than I do. Okay. He plays the Xbox One a lot. But you know what? What's funny about him, and I don't know, I'm curious about that because I'm curious what your kids do.
Eat it?
Well, right.
No,
or see what they will do when they get older. Because my son got exposed to it relatively early, but I'm really careful about what he gets to play. Like he'll come home and be like, oh, my friends are playing Call of Duty, and I'm like, oh, cool. Your friends have terrible parents, and that kid's probably gonna become a serial killer someday. He's like, Dad, that's my friend, and I'm like,
but wait, before you go any further with that. Okay, now you just said that that kid has terrible parents.
Terrible parents.
Okay, now what's worse? He plays Call of Duty, or we just go get the game by ourselves? Because when we were kids, we played games like Call of Duty, and our parents had no idea what we were doing. They were like, just go in there and play the TV.
Right. Well, I think it's a little bit different. Like that's one of the things that I'm trying to be like cognizant of. Like, because I still go back and I play older stuff, and then like when you look at something that's new, like there's a real visceral element to a lot of the stuff that kids are playing, and like particularly like not to bag on Call of Duty or something, but like when you go back to what was it? I think it was Modern Warfare 2, right. Like where they had the no Russian level where you just shoot civilians. Like that's not something I want to expose my child to. But what's interesting is that he'll want to play stuff like that. I think only because his friends are doing it. He is more into, and I see this with all of his friends. He's more into Minecraft than anything else like that. Like one of the things that we it's funny to go back to the podcast. One of the things that I've talked about there is particularly with the video games, the industry evolving. I think the biggest thing that's going to happen is what we let our kids create. Like you look at stuff like Mario Maker and Minecraft and all this stuff. Like they've created this section.
Something that's like more intuitive.
Yeah, exactly. They create this section where people can create whatever they want, and then everybody else can play it. And if you give people the tools to do something like that, you don't need to make DLC. People will do it for free. So, but I'm careful about what he's into Street Fighter, but he's not quite there. Like he's just like why do we have to fight each other? Like, why can't we like play
the kids
and I was like,
they ask the most awesome questions when you're playing a game. Like just like really no-brainers. Like, yeah, that was dumb.
Yeah. Well, like we started playing like co-op stuff. Like he really likes playing Double Dragon with me, and I guess because we get to beat up people together. Okay. But like, cause we'll play fighting games, and he's like, I don't want to fight you. I'm like, why? You can't handle it? Because I don't go soft. I will whoop his ass. Like I'm talking about straight up. Like I had the Dreamcast hooked up like 2 years ago, and he was 8. So maybe I'm a terrible parent. No, I'm not. I'm teaching him how life works. But I had Second Impact in, and I don't remember who he picked, but I was playing Ryu with the double
I do that all the time. I get mad when my daughter picks Cammy because I hate Cammy.
Oh God! So I started playing Ryu with the double dungeon. I just corner trapped him. It would just keep shocking him. So finally he was like, Dad, I don't want to play this anymore. I'm like, what, you can't handle it? He's like, no, this isn't fun. And I'm like, this is what life is like. And then I had to take a step back. It's like, just go play Minecraft, son. That's my bad. Like I don't need to grind.
All right, so parents who trying to teach their kids to play Street Fighter, take a step back. That's the key.
Take a step back.
Okay.
Well, it's funny too because he'll play. This is what killing me though. You know the 3DS version of Street Fighter 4, and it has the stuff where you can do the super moves like with the
like easy
slide
operation.
pad. Yeah,
like easy operation.
He's like got sick fundamentals like with spacing and everything. And I didn't teach him that. He's not interested in the mechanics of figuring out how I'm going to do this or that or like how all this stuff adds up. But like if I give him the option to do it regularly, like he will wreck people. It's kind of like I'm like, we need to develop this, and he's just like, no, I'm good. So.
All right. In closing, you know what the last question is. How many ninjas did you kill today?
I had to kill 35 on the way here.
Okay.
I got 12 at a construction site when I got held up in traffic. Yeah. Like, this is supposed to normally take like 30 minutes to get down here. I was in traffic for like an hour and a half. So eventually I just got out and started beating ninjas severely. Apparently, I had no idea, but Atlanta is hiring ninjas for their construction projects, which I think is a poor use of labor.
Yeah, it is. All right.
So
yeah, you know how it is. All right, so ninjas, you're going down, and this has been Fun Around 19 interview with the God, the legend, RoninChaos, and just take a step back. Take a step back.
Take a step back.
That's all we're doing this year. Taking a step.